Hey, it's Lori Calcaterra. Thanks for tuning in to another Comic Chat Authority interview. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Enjoy!
I'm R.J.Redi, the creator of The Darkest Shade. Book one is due out this year, around September, October, around that sort of time. We're aiming for the horror crowd, so we've got to sort of pump it out before then.
And it's live on Kickstarter now, right?
Yeah, well, it's launched. It's got its launch page, but it's basically to let people know that, you know, this is when this is coming out and when they can like pledge to it and that sort of stuff. But realistically, I'm not that phased by Kickstarter stuff. You know, like if you need to beg, borrow, or steal, you do what you can.
Yeah. Is the book finished?
It's almost there. It's about 10 pages away from being finished. But you know, worldly events being as they are, my colorist is in Brazil, so she had to be airlifted out of her area because of the flooding. So that set us back a little bit. But like, there's always obstacles in everything that you do. Like, it doesn't matter if it's comics or not.
And you said you used to be a filmmaker, right? So was The Darkest Shade a movie or a short film that adapted to a comic?
It was actually a short film. The script for that particular project I wrote in 2009, when my niece was born. I don't know, it sort of just flooded out of me one day, and I just wrote the whole thing out. And over the last, like, up until 2020, I was developing it in different stages. I think it went through 52 or 53 drafts before it ended up being shot at all.
Wow.
And that was, you know, that was made during the COVID scare, so during late 2020. So yeah,
Okay.
lots of challenges.
Yeah. What's the elevator pitch of The Darkest Shade?
The comic?
Yeah. What's it about?
It's about two parents that manipulated into the shadow realm after their little girl gets taken away from them from a respiratory illness, and they sort of go into this realm that's like the exact opposite of them. This like shadow realm where there are creatures and puzzles, and it's kind of like a comic book version of the survival horror video games franchise,
Okay.
particularly Silent Hill.
Hmm. And how many books do you have planned?
I've got 5 planned. Each one is a stage of the grief cycle. So book one's about denial, so we use fogging and that sort of stuff to sort of play into that theme. Book two is the anger stage, so that's quite a bit more violent. And stage three is the bargaining stage. Stage four is, you know, depression, and then stage five is the acceptance of the thing that happened. So the whole thing just revolves around the death of this little girl that these two parents lost, but it does it in a fantastical way. So it takes away from it being too much to being more of a fairy tale or like a sort of Grimm Brothers type thing.
Okay. Sweet. And is this your first comic book ever?
Not ever. I did do one when I was in high school, but it sort of didn't go beyond there, and you know, for obvious reasons. You know what's crap when you're looking at it, and that was that.
Yeah. I think everybody made a comic in high school. How long have you been making films for?
Since 2003, but I made like all these video installations for quite a while before I went to film school in 2009, and from there I started making like more like coherent stories and stuff instead of artsy stuff. And sometimes somebody just wants to go and do a surreal film, and other people are more like, make the film for the audience. But sometimes like I personally like art films more than like Marvel films, for example, because they have so much more to give. The Marvel films can be very like generic, whereas like something like Everything Everywhere All at Once, for example, was just like you didn't know what the hell you were getting into, but this is pretty wild.
That movie was badass. Where can people watch your movies that you've made? Do you have them up on YouTube, a website?
I do have it on my YouTube. I don't know if I linked you to it yet or not, but I can always do that later.
I'll add the link down in the description of the interview when it goes out. Are you going to any Comic Cons this year? Do y'all have Comic Cons
This
in
year,
Australia?
yeah, we do. In Brisbane, Melbourne, and Sydney mostly. There is Gold Coast ones as well. There's Supernova and there's Comic Con, but they happen at different times of the year. Like one's in like April, I think, and one's in like July, and then the other one is like November. So they're like 3 times. But in Melbourne, they're actually a lot more in there with that kind of festivities type thing. So living in Brisbane's a bit of a like it's nice, but it's quiet.
I was watching videos about Australia, and y'all got some crazy looking insects down there.
Yeah, man, we do, and like some of the snakes here too are just like, yeah, nah, I don't want to do that like groundskeeper job ever again because
Right. And kangaroos. What is
What
it?
was that?
And kangaroos, like I thought they was nice and friendly. Oh hell
Yeah.
no.
They'll bash the shit out of you, man. When I was like 3 or 4 years old, I did the wrong thing and I sat next to a kangaroo, and it pretty much fucked me up, man. It got my dad had to get it off me.
Yeah, I seen a video where a kangaroo was trying to lead somebody's dog into the water so he could drown it. Like they're just, I don't know, they are crazy creatures.
Yeah, they're pretty violent, but they're peaceful. You just got to leave them alone. But if you get pretty close to them, they're just gonna wallop you.
Are they everywhere? Like, or are they just in like designated areas?
You see them driving around the streets at like very early morning in certain like not in cities and stuff, but like in certain areas like out where I live. You're probably not likely to see them in the morning, but if you go like 30 minutes up the road where there's like, suburban areas, they're like all over the streets and everything at 5 a.m. Yeah, and like some of them have like little joeys in their pouches as well sometimes.
That'd be cool to see.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, you take it for granted when you see it a lot.
Yeah. It's like down here in Florida, like alligators are so common that it's just like seeing like a stray cat or a stray dog,
Yeah. I reckon it'd be the same thing if you went to like Africa and there was just like lions lying about.
Exactly. Yeah. And those vicious ass monkeys. Monkeys scared the hell out of me.
I've always wanted a pet one just because of the Ace Ventura movies.
Yeah, monkeys are very vindictive. Like when they finally snap, like they try to like bite your fingers off and your nose. Just like they do very, very cruel shit when they actually snap.
Imagine death by monkey.
Right, yeah. How is the indie comics over there in Australia?
It's pretty good in Melbourne and Sydney. In Brisbane, it's like I said, it's quiet, but there's still like an underground here that goes to like old vinyl shops and stuff. You just got to find them.
Gotcha. All right. Do you have any book signings planned this year?
Not this year. But as soon as it comes out, I'm sending it to a lot of reviewers and to people like that, just to sort of generate buzz, so that when the Kickstarter really is up, people have got something that can guarantee them a quality product.
When does the Kickstarter go live?
It's meant to go live in November,
Okay.
but if we have to push it back, we've sort of estimated a 6-week window. So at most around Christmas, which is probably not a good idea, but it might be.
Yeah, sending packages out around Christmas would probably be a nightmare, you know?
Yeah.
But
So
getting the book out in 6 weeks, that's pretty fast.
yeah, it is. I mean, we've been working on it for the last 2 years, though.
Do you have all 5 of them written? You just got to do the art.
Originally it was written as a feature film screenplay. So what we've had to do is, because screenwriting and script paneling is totally different, we've had to basically adapt what we had as the screenplay into, each book. So essentially it is, all 5 of them are written in screenplay form, but all 5 of them are not yet written in panel script form. I do have the latest draft of book 2, which is still sort of like, when you read something and you just get that effect, like it's good, but it's not quite great. That's kind of what I'm looking at.
Yeah, and you don't know what it's missing, but it could, yeah.
Yeah, and it drives you nuts for like days or weeks, and like you can't sleep, and you're watching like different movies and stuff to try and get that idea that just you can feel it in your head, but you can't get it out.
I know exactly what you're talking about. Let's see. So do you have the Comic Cons you're going to go to next year? Like, do you have to
Yeah.
submit them? Which ones are you going to?
I want to go to all of them actually, because like it would be good to have a holiday. So I'm setting it up so that when each one is, I'm taking that weekend off at least to sort of plug the book.
Are you going as a vendor or as a fan?
Bit of both. I mean, it's really, when you work in comics, if you're not a fan of them, then you're kind of in the wrong industry. It's a bit like film. Like, if you don't know what a good film is and you don't like films, why be a filmmaker?
Yeah. Yeah. I in the beginning of my channel, I interviewed a guy that makes short films like you, and he switched over to doing comics also. Yeah,
It's great because it's got a level of creative control that you just don't get in low budget film.
I would imagine writing a script for a comic and a movie would have to be somewhat similar, you know?
It has similarities for sure. The thing about it is, though, that you're jilted by the fact that you don't have true movement. So I've sort of started looking at it from the perspective of, you're describing a photograph that you've taken. So like, if you look at like a panel, that's a picture, and everything in that picture that you want to see should be in its place. Like, like going to the beach and you're taking, hundreds of photos, you might go home and you might choose 7, but these are what happened.
That is probably the greatest way I've ever heard it explained.
And like the way that it's, the closeness to storyboarding has made it incredible for me, because coming from a background where I was more of a director, I can use those skills and those lessons that I've learned along the way to help steer the comic in the right direction.
Yeah.
I mean, not to take away from my artists' work, because like I give them a brief and they give me they think is the best, and sometimes it's way beyond what I can picture.
Dead or alive, who would you like to make a comic book with? Your dream team.
If I don't know, I've always been really partial to Tim's story,
Okay.
and to like books like, I don't know, if I really wanted to work with anybody at all, film, comic, whatever, it'd be Jim Carrey, hands down, no contest.
Yeah.
But when it comes to comics, you don't sort of shy. I've heard he's a pain in the ass, and I don't know whether to believe it or not, but I think working with Alan Moore, considering how much he puts into his comics, would be an incredible experience.
Yeah. That'd be cool. So, where can people find you? What social medias are you on?
We're going to. I'm going to start the Instagram up very soon. As soon as I don't like tooting my own horn too early. So like I spend like months on preparation for my Instagram and stuff like that. But we are on Kickstarter, and I think Lucas, the co-founder of Freefall Comics, has set up a YouTube type thing that talks about comics all the time as well. I can't remember the link to it, but if I find it, I'll let you know.
Yeah, now add it down to the description of the interview.
Yeah.
Is there anything you want to say before we go?
It's been a pleasure talking to you, and we'll talk again soon.
Yeah, I appreciate you staying up to do this interview because you're 14 hours ahead of us.
Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
the future.
Yeah.
Kangaroos took over everything.
Yeah, it's early morning over here. Like I'm just about to start my day and you're about to end yours.
Yeah, getting that late.
I appreciate you taking the time to come talk with me.
Yeah, well, the feeling's mutual, my friend. Talk soon.
What? You mean you haven't subscribed to Comicchatauthority? Oh, come on, subscribe already. What are you waiting for? It's no big deal. Like, man, don't forget to tell him to hit that like button. Yeah, that too. Just subscribe.